Hello, my name is Mrs. Thielges, and I am the business education teacher at Fargo South High School. A little bit about myself. I graduated from Concordia College with a bachelor's degree in business education. And then a few years later, I pursued my master's degree from St. Catherine's University in the cities and received a degree in curriculum and instruction. I have a variety of classes that I teach. You can see them listed here. There are some of my classes that are limited to upperclassmen, such as accounting, business law, and personal finance. The other classes, basics of business, introduction to computers, skills for success, web design, and yearbook are all available starting as a freshman. Even though the content of my courses varies greatly, my classroom and student expectations are consistent across all my classes. So I always talk to my students about making sure that you are respectful, that you take responsibility for your actions, and then also make sure that you're demonstrating integrity. I talk a lot about making sure that you're not plagiarizing anything, that cheating and copying are serious offenses, and that you want to make sure that you are the one doing the work. Making sure that students communicate if they are falling behind. I do my best to make sure that I'm checking in on all of them so that they're successful. But communication is an important key, not just in school, but also in life. So trying to develop some of those skills is important. If you cannot find me in my classroom, which is room C39, our business education office is right next door in C41. That's the next place to look if you don't find me. We are in a computer lab, so I have a strict no food or beverages policy in the lab, simply because it's too easy to spill something on the computers and damage them. So no food and no beverages. Obviously, everyone has cell phones now. I know that they come into the classroom, but we want to make sure that they're not being used in the classroom, especially during learning time. I do have a cell phone holder that if a student repeatedly is bringing it out during learning time, then I ask them to put them in that holder and they can retrieve it at the end of the class period. If it gets to be a constant thing, I might call home and reiterate that point, but hopefully we won't have to go that far. Another thing I like to touch on is just my absence and makeup policy, which according to the district is that each student has 2 days for every day that they're absent to make up any work if it's an excused absence. If it's unexcused, for example, they're truant, whether it's something's due, it's a test day, a quiz day, whatever is happening that day, then it goes in as a 0 because they chose not to be here unexcused. With that being said, I do not accept late work. So students have until the end of the day when something is due. Usually I put it at 11:45 p.m. To submit their work. And if it isn't turned in by that time, it goes in the gradebook as a 0. With that being said, I do understand that life happens and there are things that are outside of your control. So I give students what I call oopses. It does depend on whether the class is a semester class or a full year class. If it's a full year class, they get 4 oopses or 2 per semester. If it's a semester class, then they get 2 oopses or 2 per semester. So when you ask to use an oops, there's no explanation that's needed, and I give you until the end of the quarter to complete that assignment. However, once the quarter is over, that assignment does go in as a 0 if I don't receive anything. And I also give students extra credit points if they don't use their oopses during the quarter as a little reward for making sure that they have their stuff in on time. My contact information, the best way to get a hold of me is by my email, which is listed there. My phone that's listed is in my office, which is not in my classroom. I do get messages sent to my email, so I can give you a call back, but if you need a quick response from me, definitely the best way to get a hold of me is by email. And then I do just list that I am also the yearbook advisor, so there may be times where I might not be around after school, running to take care of some of those duties. So if I don't get back to you, if you call after school, I will do my best to get back to you the next day. I look forward to having your student in class, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact me.